Instant coffee has become a global habit, making up more than a third of all coffee brewed at home. Behind that convenience is a massive system from Brazilian farms to factories that fill over 250,000 jars a day. The process is fast, precise, and built for flavor. But how do they turn raw beans into something that dissolves in seconds and still delivers that rich coffee taste? Well, let's uncover all that here at the Process World. Instant coffee starts long before the factory. It begins on farms in places like Brazil and Vietnam, where rich soil and steady climate make them global leaders in coffee production. Companies like Nestlé work with thousands of farmers in these regions to grow the raw beans behind every jar. It all starts with the coffee tree. Once a year it blooms with small white flowers that only last a few days. Over the next 6 to 9 months, those flowers slowly turn into bright red cherries. That's when the countdown begins. Farmers wait until about 95% of the cherries are perfectly ripe before harvesting. It takes experience and patience to get that timing right, because every step after this depends on the quality of those cherries. Smaller farms still rely on hand-picking, which is precise but slow. On large-scale farms, machines take over. These harvesters use 1,500 vibrating rods to gently shake the trees. The ripe cherries fall into trays below, and the machine moves on to the next row. In just 5 hours, it can collect up to 60 bags, something that used to take days by hand. Once the cherries are picked, they're moved by conveyor into holding containers called hoppers. These keep everything organized and fresh while waiting for the next stage. First, the cherries are poured into a large water tank called a gravity separator. This is where the sorting starts. The ripe ones are heavier, so they sink. The lighter, unripe ones float and get separated out right away. After that, the ripe cherries roll into rotating drums lined with rough surfaces. These drums are designed to gently press the cherries against fixed plates, peeling off the soft outer layer without damaging the beans inside. It's a careful process, fast but still controlled, to make sure the beans stay intact. The pulp that's removed doesn't go to waste. Many farms reuse it as compost to enrich their soil. Meanwhile, the skinned cherries continue down the line, now one step closer to becoming coffee. After the beans are separated from the cherry pulp, they're still coated in a sticky layer called mucilage. It's a sugary film that needs to be removed before the beans can dry properly. To take care of that, the beans are transferred into large fermentation tanks filled with clean mountain water. These tanks are usually lined with ceramic tiles and are built to handle huge volumes at once. The beans stay in there for 12 to 24 hours. During that time, the water slowly breaks down the mucilage. Farmers keep a close eye on the texture, checking it by hand to make sure the process doesn't go too far. When it's just right, they drain the water and start scrubbing. With long wooden paddles, they stir the beans hard enough to clean off any leftover residue. The water turns cloudy as the mucilage comes off, and they repeat the rinse cycle until the beans are fully clean. Now wrapped in a smooth parchment layer, the beans move into drying. This step is all about patience and consistency. Farmers spread them out evenly across wide surfaces, sometimes patios, sometimes raised beds. The goal is to lower the moisture content to around 11%, which keeps the beans stable and prevents spoilage. Drying usually takes 1 to 2 weeks depending on the weather. During the day, farmers use rakes to turn the beans so they dry evenly. If the skies turn gray or the humidity spikes, they'll cover the beans to keep them safe. It's a simple method, but it demands full attention. When the beans are finally dry, they're ready for hulling, and that means they've completed their final step on the farm. The hulling machine is built to remove that final layer, the parchment shell that's been protecting the bean throughout the drying process. It works by gently cracking and stripping away the parchment without damaging the green coffee bean inside. Now we're looking at the product that factories actually use, clean, smooth green coffee beans. But before anything gets shipped off, quality checks are done. The beans are sorted by size and grade, and anything that doesn't meet the standard gets filtered out. Only the best batches move forward. After sorting, the beans are packed into 60-kilogram jute or cloth bags. Each bag is labeled with key details like where the beans came from and what quality grade they are. These labels make it easier to trace every single bag back to its origin if needed. The bags are then stored in large, well-ventilated warehouses. These spaces are designed to keep the beans safe from humidity, pests, and anything else that could spoil the flavor. At this point, everything's set for the next step, getting the beans into the factory, where things scale up fast. At the factory gates, automation takes over. A robotic arm with a spider-like gripper unloads the heavy 60-kilogram bags of green coffee beans from trailers and places them onto a conveyor system. As each bag moves along, it passes through a moisture sensor that checks if the beans inside have the correct humidity level. If anything falls outside the acceptable range, that bag is separated immediately to keep the quality consistent. To ensure even tighter control, another robotic arm pierces random bags and pulls out small samples for testing. If everything checks out, the bags are neatly stacked onto pallets, each one weighed for accuracy. Then the bags are opened and emptied into a large sifting machine. This machine uses vibration to shake off any leftover dust, debris, or broken beans that might have made it through earlier stages. Once that's done, the beans are now officially inside the factory's system. They've been checked, cleaned, and sorted with precision, ready for roasting. This is where everything changes. Flavor, color, and aroma all come alive inside a massive double-walled drum that rotates continuously. The temperature inside ranges between 370 and 540 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's carefully adjusted based on the flavor profile that's needed for the final product. Inside the drum, paddles keep the beans moving constantly so they roast evenly. Nothing is left to chance. Roasting time usually runs between 8 to 20 minutes, depending on the blend. Some roasts are kept lighter to retain more caffeine, while others go darker to bring out deeper flavors. Once the timer's up, the beans are dropped into a cooling tray. A strong fan underneath blows air through them, while mechanical arms stir everything to speed up the cooling. This step stops the roasting process immediately and helps lock in the flavor at the perfect moment. From here, the beans are ready to be ground. The roasted beans head into massive industrial grinders that crush them into a coarse powder, perfect for large-scale brewing. This powder isn't brewed for sipping. Instead, it's turned into a thick coffee extract using steam and pressure, pulling out all the flavor, oils, and compounds that give coffee its signature taste. What you get is a concentrated liquid, strong enough to be the base of every jar of instant coffee. From there, the extract takes one of two routes: spray drying for speed or freeze drying for flavor. Both methods are designed to remove moisture and turn the liquid into dry granules that dissolve quickly in hot water. Spray drying is all about speed and scale. The hot coffee extract is pumped into a giant spray dryer, where it's blasted through a high-pressure nozzle and turned into a fine mist. At the same time, hot air over 1000 degrees Fahrenheit races through the chamber. The mist hits the air, the water evaporates instantly, and what falls to the bottom is dried coffee powder. That powder often goes through agglomeration, where it's gently steamed to form bigger scoop-friendly granules that dissolve more easily in water. It's a fast, efficient process that can fill thousands of jars in a single shift while still protecting flavor and aroma. On the other hand, freeze drying takes a slower, colder approach. The extract is first thickened and frozen into solid sheets inside a long freezing tunnel that drops to 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Those frozen coffee slabs are crushed into granules and placed into low-pressure chambers. Inside, the temperature is raised just enough to turn the ice into vapor, without it ever becoming liquid again. That vapor is pulled out by vacuum, leaving behind dry granules that hold on to more flavor and aroma. This method takes more time and equipment, which is why it's used for premium products like Nescafe Gold. No matter which method is used, once the granules are dry, they're ready for packaging. This is where the entire process comes together. The granules are loaded into large storage containers and then funneled into high-speed filling machines. These machines are built for speed, and some coffee companies can fill up to 320 jars every single minute. Each jar is filled in less than a second. As it moves along the conveyor belt, the granules drop in with precise weight control. There's no guesswork here. Everything is measured and checked to keep it consistent across thousands of units. Right after filling, the jars are sealed airtight. That seal isn't just for freshness, it protects the flavor from moisture and oxygen. Then the cap goes on, followed by an automatic labeler that wraps each jar with brand details and batch information. From there, the jars are boxed, stacked, and prepped for shipping. Some will end up in supermarket shelves across the world, others in office kitchens or home pantries. By this point, the coffee has gone through farms, machines, quality tests, and careful drying, all to deliver a product that's ready to dissolve in hot water the moment you need it. So now that you know every step from farm to freeze-dried crystal, do you think instant coffee is just a shortcut, or is it actually one of the smartest inventions in your kitchen? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. Leave a like and subscribe for more.